Hello, my monstrosities. Hello once again. Today I bring to you my underdog picks for the meta. I guess. It wasn't supposed to be for the meta. It was my underdog picks for LVO, and I completely forgot about Nottingham. So I'm throwing this into Nottingham too. I'm pretty sure some of these aren't seen at Nottingham. I don't think one person brought a couple of these. But just in general, I have three picks from each super faction on what I think has a very good chance at doing damage given the current climate of the situation. Now, this one in front of us right now is not one of those. I want to first talk about the lay of the land and what you have to go against on the field. Starting with Star Shatter, the one that like I said, everybody's kind of losing their shit over a T9 vehicle that I don't think it's going to take home the gold. We already know results now, or early results and things that I agree. Also, to that point, I had some different underdog picks, but fucking Art of War and stat checks, grrr, they revealed some of my secrets. Um, like Blood Angels, Angelic Inheritors, and that Star Shatter is just like okay, like it's okay. And a couple others, but like Death Watch. So now, just want to talk about the fact that Star Shatter, everybody prepared for triple DDA, and I think they underprepared for other things because of how much people prepared for Star Shatter Arsenal. Lists have already been locked for Nottingham. I believe by the time this is going up, they have locked for LVO. So let's talk about what I think out of Necrons, because I ended up doing this in a take, and I think I liked where I went with that on that take. Out of Necrons, what actually should be the thing to be kind of concerned about because all the attention is on Star Shatter. I already made this a video. If you saw that, you know the answer. Hypercrypt Legion. I'm more scared of Silent King, DDA, Catan, Locust Heavy Destroyer, than I am Silent King, DDA, Locust Heavy Destroyer. Right? And then teleport instead of needing to spend to go through walls, anything like that. Hypercrypt Legion, tried and true. I think even after the nerf, it will probably be okay. You'll just see more people take Dimensional Overseer than they were before. So, putting it back on Star Shadow, so if anybody skips ahead, they are now terribly confused. Going into the next one, Orcs, Tactical Brigade. I don't know if this is a hot take, but I think people are more so finding out about the power of Breaker Boys and Tank Busters than they are Tactical Brigade. I don't know how much the detachment rule can carry the stratagems. This is cute. This is cute. This is standard for a fighting army. This is cute. This is handy. It's always a good one. Handy, always a good one, but more so still cute. So, I don't really know. And on top of that, Commandos, or I should say Boss Snickrot, already has this ability. Like, I don't know how much the stratagems are going to take you against things that can kind of punch back with a bit more busted strat. So, Tactical Brigade, I like it. Don't get me wrong. I like it too. I just don't know if the strats have the same power that people want and if the detachment is going to be the thing. The detachment rule is going to be the thing. But since I gave an alternative for Necrons, here's the alternative for Orcs that I'm still waiting. If you attach this shit to mechs, guess what? Tank Busters and Breaker Boys, pretty much equally as annoying. Dread Mob, sustain, lethal, or bonus AP. Stack that with the fact you can run cheaper battle line in this one in the form of Gretchen, and they have a pretty okay. It's one of the better reactive move strats. You have the potential for extra damage on some things that really might need it, and mech guns are still cool too. So I don't know. I'm just saying. I think Dread Mob gives them a better home compared to Tactical Brigade. Maybe not a better home, but for what needs to happen right now, possibly than Tactical Brigade. Going over to Space Marines. I don't know who's going to be the one to break the oath. Hey, that sounds kind of cool. But the fact that, you know, oath without keyword units plus one to wound. Now, one of my previous underdog picks before I was exposed, Blood Angels, Angelic Inheritors. They were on this list for Space Marines. I don't know if you actually need Blood Angels units to make that pretty nasty. So that'd be cool to see, and I guess that's my guess on the better thing out of this one for Space Marines. There's a lot of chapters. I'm not going through that. But to say that people are needing to prepare for new Oath and probably Gladius Task Force Ultramarines, which is wild to hear. So, Oath of the moment, Space Marines, that's what people are preparing for. Now, going into my new sleeper pick, Lions Blade Task Force. I know people are taking Dark Angels. I know they're taking them in not Dark Angels Codex stuff. But I still believe there is a chance for this to do interesting things. It has two defensive strats. It has plus one to wound. It has one of the better stratagems. I don't know. People are still figuring out how good this is with not heroic. So, I think there's a world where Lion's Blade catches people off because it seems to be written off and nobody really went full all the way with experimenting on it. So, and I also still have a theory on how to actually build it. I don't know if that's going to be a repeat in this video or if that's going to repeat in the next video. We'll figure out when I release what. But Lions Blade Task Force, that's my Space Marine pick for the sleeper. Going on to a complete sleeper, Army of Faith. You all were letting Stephen Box get away with fucking murder. While everybody was riding the absolute shit out of Bringers of Flame, he was just topping with Army of Faith. And nobody called it. And then I looked at it, right? Sisters this past weekend, post nerf, have been doing just fine. And I think everybody that doesn't play Sisters kind of knew that, right? Like, we're like, oh, you just have to roll dice like the rest of us, okay? But 3 of these enhancements give you a miracle dice in some way, shape, or form, right? That's already good. You were asking for more miracle die? Here's your miracle die. Yeah, it costs 30. That's 30 I'll spend. Then going to looking at the stratagems, you have -1 to hit. If you target a jump pack, that's 2 units with -1 to hit. 5 up Feel No Pain against mortals, which I don't know. The game really seems to be throwing that at us as, hey, you might want this. So take that, you have that. But more importantly, Divine Guidance, +1 AP, shooting or the fight phase, and if any enemy models are destroyed, gain a miracle dice. Yeah, the Exorcist, Castigator, Immolator, +1 AP, and give a miracle dice? Are you fucking kidding me? Faith and Fury, fight phase, 1 Adeptus Sororitas unit from your army. Again, just unit, not infantry, not whatever. Until the end of the phase, melee weapons equipped by models in your unit have lance. If 1 or more enemy models are destroyed, gain a miracle dice. And then an uppy downy for jump pack. Oh, sorry, I did also miss that Light of the Emperor gives you ignore mods for an Adeptus Sororitas unit. And if you target jump pack, it can be 2 units that ignore mods. A good thing to have. So, Army of Faith looking still pretty fucking nice. Now, the last Imperium, even I kind of rocked back and forth on this one. Halo's Creed Battleclade. The thing that puts it over the edge for me is that I think, well, first off, it's not Skitarii Hunter cohort, and it needs to not be, because you're buffing units that have specifically anti on their weapon profiles. I think if there was a time more than ever to need anti on your keywords or lethals, I know Radzone has it, but Radzone has two very expensive stratagems, right? If there was a time to need lethals, it's when everything is getting +1 toughness, -1 to wound if strength is greater than toughness, shit like that. Needing having anti on top of reroll wounds, reroll hits and wounds of 1, right? Crits on 5s, taking your mediocre data sheets up to above mediocre and subpar up to par. This can have a good time if people let it. And you can still do shit like at the moment. You can give Canis Rex either +1 toughness. I mean, any of these, but +1 toughness or stealth. Like, that's kind of, come on now. So if your opponent only has strength 12 shooting, go ahead and make it so that they have to wound on 5s, right? Compared to wounding on 4s. Or if they have like a strength 18 gun, -1 to hit with stealth. It has play. At first, I didn't think it was too good, but I don't know. My brain wasn't really registering in your command phase. And then next command phase. I don't know why. I think at one point I might have just really blocked that out. But hey, Halo Screed Battleclade. Moving on to Chaos. What could I possibly think about Chaos being the sleeper? Starting off with their flavor of Marines, like I did over on Imperium. Fellhammer Siege Host. I am once again going to yell at you all. Hey, why aren't we playing this right now? If everybody likes strength greater than toughness -1 to wound, what about doing that for ranged attacks into any Heretic Astartes unit, excluding Damned? So, your monsters, your vehicles, your infantry, your mounted, whatever the fuck. -1 to wound, at range, strength greater than toughness. Enhancements are cool too. One of them, blanket damage save for your unit. Awesome. Stratagems. We have that too. Reroll hit rolls in the fight phase. If below half strength, reroll wound rolls as well. Found out how good this can be thanks to Flyblown Host, point blank destruction. Turn your ranged weapons into pistol. Infantry. Need something for the fight phase after all that range shenanigans? What if you start getting punched? You kind of punch them back with mortals. Perfect. You know how many things I hear about a 5-up feel no pain because of Invasion Fleet? What about a 5-up feel no pain for, again, a Heretic Astartes unit? Now, shooting phase. But -1 to wound, strength greater than toughness, 5-up feel no pain for Heretic Astartes unit in ranged. That looks like something that people should actually be thinking about. Pitiless Cannonade, possibly crits on 5s. You know, there's some hoops there. But Siegecraft. You know how there's other strats that say, hey, if somebody's charging you, target that one, and they have -2 to charge? What if you target yourself, and if anything tries to charge you, subtract 2 from that charge roll? Not cumulative with any other negative modifiers. But, yeah, each time an enemy unit targets you, -2 to charge. All the shit we're doing in CSM, try doing that in Failhammer Siege Host and tell me if you're not impressed. Going on, Chaos Demons, Scintillating Legion. I didn't do this one purely for the flavor of how I could just go, yeah, what if I say the worst of the demon detachments? What if I do that one? No. Genuinely, one thing after looking at it is that the timing of how you have the flux tokens and when you want to use it. Nothing says that you have to use them at, points and times willy-nilly. None of that. You can just save them until later phases. Some of these don't require them for when you don't really need it, like Impossible Eclipse. Select No Man's Land or your opponent's deployment zone. If you use a Flux token, you can do both. Shadow of Chaos, for all of it. You don't need to do both all the time. Now, going on to another one that's a little bit better. Pyrogenesis, I gave it some shit because it's 2 CP, and I'm like, I don't know when I'm doing that. But then I remembered Kairos. That makes me feel a little bit better. But the more important ones is that with flickering reality, I can, in the fight phase, spend this token to re-roll it if I don't like the result. Or just for 1 CP, I can make it so that all results for whatever number, right, miss, including crits, without a flux token if I get lucky. I can use the flux token if I get unlucky, but I like these odds because it's the fight phase. Presumably, my opponent's fight phase, where if I give them a flux token, they don't really have too much time to use it because it's the fight phase. Same with Delirium Unmade. End of your opponent's fight phase. End of your opponent's fight phase. You can spend 1 flux token on top of the CP to take 2 of your Zinch units out of combat, uppy downy. So then it comes back over to you, and you gain a flux token or 2 because it's your turn and your opponent had a flux token. If you get pretty crafty, I'm not gonna lie, I looked for a while on what's the best way to, you know, I'll be honest, fuck people over, trying to use the fucking flux tokens. And I think it's all about timing. I think if you hold on to that shit, there's a chance. I also realized that out of the Chaos Legions, the ones that will impress me the most with a Soul Grinder is probably Zinch. So Scintillating Legion. There we go. Now, the next one, Death Guard. Yeah, I think Plague Company has a really good shot right now. It undoes a lot of the things that people are getting. Within the contagion, of course. But the other big thing that I don't think enough people are talking about is Mortarion gaining Deep Strike. Now, your big scary boy doesn't need to get shot starting turn 1. You can bring in this brick along with Rodigus turn 2 and start doing the do. Play Company has a great shot right now. On top of that, stratagems, regenning wounds, improving AP, sustained hits, heavy ignore cover, stealth, -1 damage, costly, but in the fight phase, -1 damage. This is my pick for, well, I guess technically that's still a CSM, a dedicated CSM faction. This is my pick over Thousand Suns, World Eaters. We don't know about Emperor's Children. Well, I mean, technically they do exist right now, but that wasn't in my pick either. So, Chaos, you got Failhammer Siege Host, Scintillating Legion and Play Company, Imperium. You have Lions Blade Task Force, Army of Faith, Healer's Creed Battleclade. Now for the Xenos, the one that I'm most familiar with. Auxiliary Cadre. I'm sorry, I still like it. Now, there was a chance for Montcalm to be on the list. There was. And there was even a chance for Cal Yan. I don't think that Ret Cad is that bad, but it did take quite the hit. So, I think Auxiliary Cad has a good shot right now. I understand Tau players. I'm sorry, you have to use the other part of your range. But the same way people yelled at me, but you can make an Exocrine, gain 2 strength. You can make a Tiger Shark, gain 2 strength, and 1 AP. Because did you know that thing is not Titanic? Yeah. Works for me. I think Auxiliary Cadre, the same way people got caught off guard by Tau, if there's a dedicated Tau player willing to put in the time and a good list, Auxiliary Cadre can do the thing right now. Now, the next one. Coming fresh off a change, Outlander Claw. I know that the army rule got changed, but the things that Outlander Claw, and I know the detachment rule got changed. It did take a nerf too. But now more than ever, it seems armies are doing less combined arms. It's either heavy vehicle or heavy infantry from what I'm seeing right now. All right. That's why another thing that I was pissed about Star Shattered Arsenal, I'm like, where did everybody's anti tank go? Like, what are we talking about? Why are we. What's going on here? So with Outlander Claw, if you go into other vehicles, guess what? You out primary them. If you go into infantry, you can get around that primary, kinda, and you can kill them because you have actually a pretty good two with the Ridge Runner and the Rock Grinder. Atlan Jackals, do your other shit. Outlander Claw, I'm a fan right now. I'm a fan right now. -1 damage for that. 4 up in Vuln for them. Remove from battlefield. Lethal hits with a caveat. I'm a fan of Outlander Claw's chances right now. So hey, if anybody wants to take it out, I'm just saying we've seen it win before. It can do it again. And finally, my last pick for underdogs that have a chance. Again, might not be too much of an underdog, but everybody writes the army off, so I guess I get to still say that. Drukhari Reaper's Wager. People are finally waking up to the fact that Reaper's Wager is the best Drukhari detachment. I don't know what that was about when there's like, oh, but it's like, who told you to take the bad things? If there are good things in your army, just put them in here. And then get the good shit. Such as sustained or lethal and shooting or fight phase. Advanced shoot and charge. All the things. You can get the things. -1 to hit. Reactive move. A lot though. Can't be fire overwatched. One of the banes of Drukhari elf player existence. So, Reaper's Wager. The other thing about why I think Drukhari has a chance, not just because it's their best detachment. Like I said with AdMech, you need anti right now. You need anti. So between anti-infantry, anti-vehicle, and hell, just some good strength weapons to blast out monsters, and this being the best detachment, I think Reaper's Wager has a pretty good shot. So, those are my underdog picks that can take down Nottingham and LVO, but I know some of those are not being taken at Nottingham. So we'll just say my underdog picks for the current meta. I think this is fun. If any of you would like to actually remember some of these that have been with us for a while and try some of the new ones and tell us results, that's always cool. But yeah, if you like the video, like it. Got a comment from me, comment. And until next time, peace out, my monstrosities.